All right. So before we do that, I got to go over some things I haven't been great at, and that's going over our learning target for the day. So today's learning targets. First, let me give you a breakdown of what we do in science. So for science, we do what's called the G. Oh my! I hate this marker. The GPS model. Okay, that's something that Mr. Kemford came up with. Mr. Kemford's 8th grade science teacher. Maybe you will have him next year. But he's awesome. He's been here for a long time. He was teaching when I was here in school. So he came up with this, the GPS. GPS, anyone used the GPS before? Yes? Anyone who has an iPhone or Samsung or whatever?
My grandma has a little box one that sits on the pole.
Yeah. But you use it to get to places where you don't necessarily know how to get there, or it can give you the most efficient route, or keep you from getting lost, or whatever. So Mr. Kemford kind of came up with this because our GPS is going to get us to where we need to go in science class, okay? Now, we want to keep terminology somewhat similar throughout the school building. Goal, G is for goal. Our goal is going to be our learning target for the day. We might have more than one learning target for every day, all right? Today's learning target happens to be target 2. Develop and use models. Did you ever use that last year? Did you ever develop and use models last year with Mrs. Benning? Yes, because we have the same targets for science throughout middle school. All right. So that's our target. We're going to develop and use models. The next part of the GPS is the P. P stands for process and purpose. Process, how are we going to get to our goal? And purpose, why are we doing it? Okay? So our process today is we're going to complete a cell organelle assessment. That's what you're going to do. That's how we're going to achieve our goal. What's the purpose? Well, to develop and use models, the purpose of that would be to learn from not just listening to your teacher, not just reading, but being able to gain information from looking at models, because not every single time is something going to be written out in front of you or explained to you. You've got to be able to look at models and understand what's going on, especially in science, right? Not just science, but especially in science. Okay, so that's the process and the purpose. Then we go into S. S stands for success or success criteria. Have you ever heard that term before? Success criteria, what it means, what criteria you need to hit in order to be successful. Okay? Usually this is going to start with, I will know I'm successful when, or I'll know I got it when, something like how you're going to know when you've achieved the goal. So how will you know when you've achieved this goal? You will know you are successful when you can label the organelles of cells. Label the and tell me the functions of cells. So if you can do that, you can consider yourself successful. You have achieved the target, and you'll probably get a 3. Yes?
Yeah, but also don't you have to do it professionally? You can't just like sit there and kind of ask you kind of have to study. You can't just sit there and guess and hope for the best.
Yes, definitely. Good point. I would not expect you to be able to guess and label the organelles of cells without studying. Definitely. Agreed. Okay, so that being said, we talked animal cells on Monday. It is now Thursday. We did not get to plant cells, so we're going to get to them right now. I want you to turn to a new sheet of paper in your notebook. Okay? Now I need to do this. Okay? And you're going to draw a plant cell. It's going to look... By the way, is this anybody's in here? No? Okay. If it is, come take a look at it later. Oh my.
Do you want one of my markers?
I want markers that work.
I have markers.
I want markers that work. Okay. So you're drawing the plant cell. You'll notice it's a little bit more rigid more rectangular, more structure, however you want to talk about it. Okay? And the first thing we're going to talk about in a plant cell that makes it a little bit different than the animal cell is this portion right here. This arrow I'm pointing at both. This is the cell wall. Okay? The cell wall, different from a cell membrane. The plant cell also does include a cell membrane. The cell membrane is on the inner part of this. But the cell wall provides strength and protection for the cell. Provides strength and protection. When you think wall, you probably think something that's going to be strong, right? So cell wall is strong, and these walls, especially these walls of this classroom, are going to protect you. This wall protects the cell. Okay, it is made of glucose. If you remember from our macromolecules lessons, glucose is a simple sugar that makes up carbohydrate chains, okay? Monosaccharide. It's very hard to digest. Okay, who knows how many stomachs cows have?
5.
It's actually 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you just guess?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you would. What's that? Yeah, they have 4 stomachs. Why?
Was it big?
Bennett?
How big they are and how much protection they have on them.
Sure. I'm thinking of a different reason. Go.
It's a little harder for them to digest the plants, and they also sort of eat it more than once.
Sure. So what do cows eat? They eat like grass, right? Hay, grain, right? That stuff is made out of, those cell walls are made out of glucose. Hard to digest, right? Cows, they even spit things up and chew on their cud, right? It has to be digested multiple times. Each stomach breaks it down in a different way, right? So that's why. Who here has eaten corn? I don't know if I should say this. Who here knows that corn is somewhat difficult to digest?
Oh, I don't know.
Who here has looked in the toilet after they've eaten corn on the cob? Anybody? No?
Who looks in the
My
toilet?
grandma makes the corn so that it doesn't do
I'm
that.
sorry, I like watching it flush. I'm just weird about that.
Okay. But now that I've put that image in your brain, corn, the outer coating or the shell of the corn, a lot of cellulose in there, very hard for you to digest. Okay? The inner part, the inner kernel part of it is not as hard, and like 90% of it is digestible. But that part, hard to digest. So, sometimes you'll see that you don't digest it at all. And it just comes out and you still see the corn kernel. The corn coating. Yeah.
Is it part of the reason too, like when they eat, is because also they produce milk?
As far as their stomachs?
Yeah. Well,
That's a-
it depends on which cow you have.
Yeah. Good question.
There's different types of cows. I just knew that.
Oh yes, plenty. Okay, anyway, cellulose is what makes up cell walls, gives them their structure. Okay, you know what else is made up of cellulose? Wood. So if you think about a tree, right? Tree, very strong. Like you wouldn't want to go hitting a tree. Maybe some trees are softer than others, but in general, not going to be a great idea. That's made up of cellulose. A lot of wood is made up of cellulose. Okay, so cell wall is one thing that makes this plant cell different. Another thing that makes it different, you're going to draw like a poker table and poker chips. stacks of them. Okay? Not saying you gotta play poker.
I don't know what this even means because I haven't.
Me and my
played it, so.
cousin play that.
Poker's a
It's
card
fun.
game, and you have chips that you bet on
Well,
cards and stuff. Okay?
He loses all the time.
So, draw that. This organelle that is not in a plant in an animal cell is called a chloroplast. The poker chips, that's chlorophyll. Okay? The chlorophyll is what gives plants their green color. Chlorophyll gives plants their green color. You'll notice right now, that doesn't sound good. You'll notice right now that what's happening to trees? Dayton? Their leaves are turning to yellows, oranges, reds, browns. Okay?
Dead.
What's that?
Dead one.
Yeah, the leaves are, they're shedding their leaves. What's that?
I thought you were talking about like the trees down in California.
Oh yeah, I mean, those are on fire. but
Yeah, that's what I was
They're
gonna
still
say.
red.
Fire.
They're orange. I was thinking of the storm that
This
we
guy,
had
I don't know,
earlier.
this guy's head is always somewhere else.
I know.
Anyway, their chlorophyll is breaking down. The chloroplasts are breaking down. Why? There's less sunlight now. Did you know that? We're losing sun as we move into winter. The temperatures are dropping. Okay? Chlorophyll starts to break down. The tree recognizes this. Okay? It's not going to be able to survive. Those leaves aren't going to be able to survive the winter. They'll freeze. Right? They turn, the chlorophyll is breaking down, and other chemicals get to show their colors. I think xanthophyll gives you a yellow color. I gotta look at the red one. Oh, carotenoid gives it its orange color. Also gives it carrots their color. But anyway, that's a different lesson.
Oh, we're still
Anyway, chlorophyll. What's that?
I didn't know we were still talking about leaves.
What
Yeah,
did you think
same.
we were talking about?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Hi. Welcome
Hi.
to class, everybody.
You're welcome.
Okay, anyway, chlorophyll gives it its green color. Jaden, did you have something to say?
Yeah, did we have to do the plant cell for our
You can do it right now.
Yeah, what if you
I
already
forgot
did
about that sheet.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it. Anyway, yes.
Yeah. This is kind of out of nowhere, but me and my dad, when we were out to hunting this weekend, we got to see an albino dove. So that was
Awesome.
really cool.
I saw
And then it
one
ran right into the cornfield.
Nice.
At the
Should have asked you about our weekends. Actually, it's Thursday. What are we talking about?
Oh, last
Today is
weekend.
Thursday, dude.
Kids, what do you
Oh my gosh. Alright, anyway, chloroplast. It's made out of chlorophyll.
we have
This is a very important part of the plant cell. It is nicknamed the solar generator. What's it nicknamed, Aiden?
Solar panels?
No, solar generator.
Well,
Yeah, I would
that's
accept
not a
solar
nickname,
panels.
it's already got
Solar
it.
generator. What's that?
You just said it's nicknamed solar generator.
I
You
did.
said a nickname
That's
for
why I
solar
called on
generator.
it, because you were talking.
anything in parentheses.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I'm talking to myself.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
So you were.
Okay, solar generator. Okay. So Aiden brought up solar panels. What do solar panels do? Yes.
They like produce electricity and heat and stuff from sunlight.
Yeah, so they use the energy from sunlight and convert it into energy that we can use, like heat or electricity or whatever. Okay, whatever you need. So what this chloroplast does for a plant is takes sunlight and makes glucose. Takes sunlight and makes glucose. So it takes that sunlight, converts it into energy. I should have said it converts sunlight into energy. Converts the sunlight's energy into energy for itself. in the form of glucose. Yes, Peyton.
So on the quiz, will we have to will there be a word bank? Because I don't know if I can spell most of this.
Yes, there will be a word bank.
Thank you. Okay,
Everything's gonna be okay, guys.
No,
I had to do this
honestly,
with Tuesday.
I failed.
I promise you, everything's gonna be alright. I promise. Everything's gonna be okay. Okay, so it takes sunlight, creates glucose. Plants feed themselves through a process of photosynthesis.
Gosh dang it, I was just gonna.
Photosynthesis takes sunlight, water, carbon dioxide, a little bit of nutrients from the soil. Okay? And it feeds itself, and it allows itself to grow, provides energy for itself. Pretty crazy, right? You don't see plants going out and hunting their food, right? You don't see plants eating other plants.
I'd have to argue that Venus flytrap.
Flycatcher, there you go. There is one that you can think of, right? The Venus flytrap. And even that doesn't actually move to go get it. The fly has to land on its
But
track.
it still moves.
Yes, it doesn't have to move to go hunt
But
it.
it moves.
My mom killed
Yeah,
it.
but it doesn't have to move to go hunt
Not
it.
even kidding.
Both things can, oh yeah, listen, yeah.
moves.
Both things can be true. It can move, but it doesn't
But it
move.
can't move.
I've seen
No,
it
it
But it
doesn't.
can't relocate.
Like it was like it took like 5 hours.
We can keep going. Here we go. So, you on the other hand have to hunt your food, right? Back in the day, they had to hunt their food. You don't really have to hunt anymore. You can go to the grocery store.
I like to though.
Yes, I understand that. It's not necessary for your survival, though. There are grocery stores, stuff like that.
Some people can just stick a rifle out the window and just shoot them out.
That's exactly correct. Not necessary.
Sounds about right. You should see my dad. My dad looks like literally a caveman in 2020.
Caveman that drives a car, uses a computer and a phone.
You don't like computers or phones. He has
What do
a
you use?
typewriter.
Use
I
typewriter.
kid you not. He'll use his
Caveman
typewriter.
didn't use typewriter either.
What?
I said a caveman didn't use typewriter either.
Well, it still counts. It's still back one.
Still counts.
Back
Alright, we're losing focus.
Okay,
Alright? Chloroplast takes sunlight and makes glucose. We will learn way more about the process of photosynthesis on a molecular level and a chemical level down the road. But right now, all you need to know is that it takes sunlight, turns that into energy that it uses. Imagine you going out into the sun, standing in the sun for a couple hours and say, I'm full and now I can go run a marathon because I have energy. No, you can't. You got to eat. You need to eat your food. Hunt your food, get it, eat it, then it turns in, and then you got to keep doing that over and over. Okay? So, those are two things that make a plant cell different than an animal cell. Now I want you to draw this big, somewhat triangular, boot-looking thing. This glare is driving.
Is it okay if it looks more like a?
Is it okay? What?
Is it okay if it looks more like an oval?
I don't care. Okay, here we go. This is
A vacuum.
a vacuole.
How did you know that?
Because she's got
She probably did what she should have on her day off.
Did you?
Yeah, did her textbook homework.
Did
Probably.
you go Dayton?
Yeah, like you should have done.
I did.
Okay, so your vacuole. You might be thinking, well, hold on, there's vacuoles in an animal cell. Yes, there are, but they look a little different. There are many vacuoles in an animal cell, and they're smaller. Typically in a plant cell, there is one, maybe two large vacuoles. They still serve the same purpose, though. It is a cabinet. This stores nutrients and water. Water being the very important part. Okay? If you have a garden, your parents have a garden, or you have plants, and you don't water them for a while, you'll notice the leaves start to wilt, right? They go from standing straight out like this to like drooping, 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 drooping. There's no water in those vacuoles. Okay? If you water it, you'll notice the leaves start to spring back up, look more healthy, more strong, right? Not as flimsy. vacuoles get filled with water. Okay? After you've done that, you need to draw the rest of the organelles. You don't need to label them. You need to draw the nucleus, the nucleolus. You need to draw the smooth ER, the rough ER, the ribosomes, the lysosome, the Golgi bodies. Okay? Do that now.
Don't they look different on this cell though?
Don't they
The
look
last one was
different?
circular.
What are you talking about?
Like the drawing's supposed to be different because the last one was circular.
What are you asking?
Like the last drawing was circular that we did like this. Aiden, it doesn't
This
matter.
is what you should have up there, and then you should add all of the other organelles that are in the
I know,
animal
but,
cell.
like, are the drawings itself gonna look different? Like the nucleus, is it gonna look different?
Nope,
than the last
it's the
one?
same. It's gonna look the same. You can make it look different if you want.
Wait, do we need to label them?
No, you don't need to label the rest of them. If you'd like to, fantastic, but you don't have to. Extra credit for doing what you should?
No, labeling them, does that count?
No.
Nab it.
You could have gotten extra credit if you did the worksheet that you're supposed to do. And I told you about that. So, what up?
Yeah, I didn't know that was that.
What's up?
Never mind.
You didn't know that was that?
Yeah, on the worksheet, you gotta label what this
Oh,
is,
yeah.
and
I will allow you to fill out that worksheet right now if you want.
Hey, Ben is cheating over here.
And cheating?
What?
He's just using his resources.
I don't understand these things.
What do you mean, man? I just gave you those. I just gave you those.
I knew that.
Oh my.
We're gonna ace this.
You know it. What were it?
I don't have a word sheet.
You don't have a worksheet? Why? I did give it to you.
Yeah, I got one.
100%.
I thought she
I bet
wasn't
you
here.
do.
Was she?
Where?
I'm pretty sure
I don't know.
got
That I don't know. I know I gave it to you though.
I did pretty good.
Unless. Are you sure? Can you check your folder again?
I don't have a folder.
You don't have a folder?
I don't have a folder.
You have a notebook?
I did. I don't have it.
You don't have it?
Nope.
Does Jaden have it?